You already know who the fuck this said. Young Scooter, right back in the kitchen. New single for the streets, rap gang, street gang. Coming soon, or coming tomorrow, rap gang, street gang. For my new mixtape, Street Lottery 2, stay tuned. January 1st, Street Lottery 2 gonna shut the streets down. Count up, nigga.
Good evening and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Jennifer Bellamy. We are following breaking news right now in the city of Atlanta, where just minutes ago, Atlanta police held a news conference about the death of a 39-year-old man, Kenneth Bailey, also known as rapper Young Scooter. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live for us tonight right outside of Atlanta Police Headquarters. Cody, you just stepped out of that briefing from police. A lot going on tonight. What have you learned?
Well, Jennifer, the main thing we want to set straight here, the lieutenant over homicide with Atlanta police saying they did not, in fact, shoot Young Scooter. They say there were no shots fired during this ordeal tonight on William Nye Drive. I believe we have a live look at that scene right now. What Atlanta police say did happen this evening is that they were responding to a call from a home there on William Nye Drive involving a disturbance with weapons. As officers got on scene, they got reports that there was a woman involved in this, possibly shots fired, and that she was taken back into the home. However, at this hour, they cannot find that woman. What they did find in the home were two male suspects. One of those males returned from the home after running away. That second suspect never returned, and we're told as he was making his way from that home, he actually jumped two fences. It was during one of those jumps he landed and somehow broke a leg. Some were hearing initial reports it was a femur. Again, we don't know the details of exactly the injuries, but tonight the medical examiner says a cause and manner of death have not been confirmed. But again, this is now confirmed to be Bailey, a based rapper here in Atlanta known as Young Scooter. While there are reports coming in from across the country tonight that Atlanta police shot this rapper, they say that is in fact not true, and the GBI has been requested to that scene that you're looking at, William Nye Drive, to give a third-party investigation. But again, to walk you through, there's a lot of confusion tonight with this story. APD responded to that home involving a weapons dispute. At some point, they got a report shots were fired, and again, a woman might have been taken in the home. When officers got there, they did not find that. They say those two men ran from the home. One returned to that house. The other one, who was Young Scooter, again, jumped two fences, and during that run over those fences, he fell, and what we heard originally was fractured or broke his femur. He was rushed to Grady, where he died there in the ER. So again, a lot to still uncover on this situation, but Atlanta police wanted to make it very clear tonight. They are saying their officers did not fire a weapon, and that Young Scooter died as he was fleeing from that scene on William Nye Drive. Of course, for his family, a heartbreaking situation and a very active investigation going on out there, not only with Atlanta police, but also with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. They will do an independent investigation and release those findings in the coming weeks or months. But Jennifer, a busy night in Atlanta, and of course, this news hitting the industry, music industry, very hard as news is spreading across the country about Young Scooter's death, reportedly on his 39th birthday.
All right. Cody Alcorn reporting for us tonight on certainly a complicated situation there. Cody, thank you so much.
Imagine this, a single phone call, a desperate cry for help, could twist reality itself. What if that call, meant to save a life, became the very instrument of its destruction? Imagine a quiet street in Atlanta, a place where lives should unfold peacefully, suddenly ripped apart by a violent, unseen force. A voice, frantic, paints a scene of unimaginable horror. He's beating her bloody, dragged her back in the house, gunshots. The words themselves, a brutal intrusion into the ordinary. But was it truth? Or a calculated lie, designed to unleash chaos? This is not just a story, this is the unraveling of a life, a career, a reputation, all triggered by a single, desperate call. Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, known to the world as Young Scooter, a man rising, a voice in the music scene, found dead. But how? Why? And who was the voice that set this terrible sequence into motion? Demetria Spence, remember that name. How could a false alarm lead to such a tragic end? Can a call, a lie, kill? Let's unpack the first moments of this tragedy together. What do you think happened? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and stay with me, because what follows, you won't believe. Welcome to Whistles of True Crime, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most chilling true crime tales. If you crave real-life crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat, you're in the right place. Kindly subscribe to this channel now and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. This story takes us to Southeast Atlanta, a diverse and evolving part of the city, blends residential neighborhoods with pockets of commercial activity, known for its accessibility to downtown and its mix of older homes and newer developments. The area reflects the city's broader growth. Features include the sprawling green space of the South Side Park, and the burgeoning local businesses along Moreland Avenue. However, like many urban areas, Southeast Atlanta faces challenges. Crime rates, particularly those involving gun violence, have been a persistent concern, often exceeding the city's average. This reality casts a stark shadow over the community, underscoring the complexities of life in this part of Atlanta. 273 William Nye Drive, an ordinary address, seemingly. A typical suburban street in Southeast Atlanta, houses stand neatly side by side, lawns are manicured, the kind of place where you'd expect to hear birds chirping, not gunshots. But on the evening of March 28, 2025, this tranquility was shattered. Police were dispatched to this very location after a 911 call reporting a dispute with a weapon. But what really happened behind these closed doors? What secrets did this seemingly peaceful street conceal? This is where Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, known as Young Scooter, spent his final hours. Young Scooter, a rising force in the Atlanta rap scene, a collaborator with artists like Future and Gucci Mane, a life full of promise, cut short. But the key to understanding this tragedy lies within the words spoken on that 911 call.
273 William Nye Drive, Southeast.
273 William Nye.
Yeah.
No, it's 273 William. Oh, you said Nye, NYE, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you to Cab. Hello, caller.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Actually, both. If you could say both. There was literally a shooting. The house of literally the neighbors next door. The house of the address that I just gave you, the 273. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, what is my name?
Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They hold the guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over drugs, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. And then they started shooting. She had someone come over there, and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
How many shots were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
Let's break it down. Listen closely to the caller's words. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house. A domestic dispute? But she doesn't stop there. She ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. She's being held hostage. A naked woman, dragged, held hostage. The scene she paints is one of extreme violence and captivity. But did any of it actually happen? And then, the most chilling claim, there was literally a shooting, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you, the 273. Gunshots, a woman held against her will. This call paints a terrifying picture. But what if this picture was a complete fabrication? What if it was a lie, a carefully constructed web of deceit with deadly consequences. And what role did Demetria Spence, the woman behind the phone, play in this unfolding drama? We'll examine that soon. But first, consider this: if the call was a lie, why did young Scooter run? What was he so afraid of? And what was actually happening inside 273 William Nye Drive? The answers are far more complex than a simple 911 call suggests. Within minutes, Atlanta Police Department officers arrived. The scene they encountered was tense. The 911 call had painted a picture of extreme danger, a hostage situation, possible gunfire. When officers approached the front door, it opened, just for a moment, then slammed shut, a clear sign. Something was terribly wrong. The situation escalated instantly. What were they hiding? Why the sudden retreat? This brief, almost fleeting contact, was the catalyst. From that moment, the investigation transformed into a pursuit. Chaos erupted. Two individuals attempted to flee. One returned to the house, but the other, later confirmed to be Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, young Scooter, took a different path. He didn't run down the street. He jumped fences, attempting to vanish into the surrounding neighborhood. Why? Was he running from a crime scene? Or running for his life? The chase was brief, but the consequences were devastating. He was found, injured nearby. The exact nature of those injuries, still under investigation. He was transported to Grady Memorial Hospital, and there, he died. What caused those injuries? A fall? A struggle? Or something else? The police arrived expecting a hostage situation, but now, they had a death on their hands, and the questions intensified. What was the truth behind that 911 call? Was it a desperate cry for help, or a calculated setup? And what secrets were hidden behind the walls of 273 William Nye Drive? Drop a comment below. Injured, that's the word used, but what injured really meant, we now know, was fatal. Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, young Scooter, was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital. The hope, of course, was to save his life, but medical intervention failed. Time ran out. He was pronounced dead. The rising rap star, the man who'd collaborated with some of the biggest names in the industry, was gone. Just like that, a life extinguished. And the questions became deafening. How did a call about a domestic dispute, a potential hostage situation, end with a death? What was the chain of events that led to young Scooter's injuries? What was the truth of what happened at that house? And, most importantly, why? His family, devastated, they sought answers, and so did the Atlanta Police Department. Because now, this wasn't just about a false 911 call, this was about a death, a life taken, and the investigation changed, the focus shifted. Why was he injured? Why did he run? What was the truth? Was it a simple accident? Or was there something more? Was there a crime that had been committed? And if a crime was committed, who was responsible? And was Demetria Spence, the woman who made that call, in any way involved? What did she know? And what was her motive? If you think you know, leave a comment below, because the answers we need are still out there. And the next stage of this investigation will change everything you think you know about this case. For days it took. Demetria Spence, the woman behind that 911 call, was located and arrested. The charge? Transmitting a false public alarm, a serious charge, not a mistake. A deliberate act. The police had tracked her down, a search, a hunt, for the source of that call. Because that call, they now knew, was a lie that had set in motion a chain of events ending in a death. What drove her to it? Let's look at the facts. A woman being dragged, she said, gunshots fired, hostage situation, but the evidence didn't match. No signs of a violent assault, no evidence of a hostage, no confirmation of gunshots. The call was a fabrication, a false narrative. The police found the discrepancies, the lie was uncovered. But still, the question remained, why? What was the motive? What was the intent behind this false call? Motive, intent, these are the crucial elements. Why make such a call? Was it a personal vendetta? Was it a calculated attempt to cause chaos? Or was there something else, something more hidden? Former law enforcement, they'll tell you, false reports are rarely random, they have a purpose, a reason, but what was it? We don't know, not yet. Was it a miscalculation? Or was it something far more premeditated? And what did Demetria Spence know about young Scooter's injuries? Was she simply a liar? Or was she something more? An accomplice? A pawn? A key player in a much larger, much more dangerous game? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because the answers are not going to be easy, and the next revelation will turn this entire case upside down. The loss of young Scooter, it resonated beyond the music charts. His death left a void, a family, shattered, fans in disbelief. "We are completely devastated," his family stated. Simple words, but they conveyed a profound grief, a life, a talent, gone. The shock echoed through Atlanta, and beyond, but grief doesn't answer questions, it doesn't bring back the dead. Demetria Spence, the legal process began, transmitting a false public alarm, while serious, doesn't explain a death. What happens next? Court appearances. Legal representation, but there is a lack of information, her defense, if any. The details of her legal strategy remain shrouded in mystery, a silence that breeds suspicion. Why the secrecy? What are they hiding? And so, the questions linger. Young Scooter's injuries, how did they happen? The motive behind the false call, was it a simple act of malice or something more complex? The extent of Demetria Spence's involvement, was she a lone actor or part of something bigger? And what happened inside 273 William Nye Drive? What was the real story? A story that, if revealed, might change everything. The police investigation continues, but the answers remain elusive, and the closer we get to the truth, the more dangerous it becomes. What did she really see? What did she really hear? And who else was involved? Because what happened that night wasn't just a false alarm, it was a cover-up, and the next revelation will expose the truth they tried to bury. The investigation continues. The truth, not a luxury, it's a necessity. Someone died, questions remain, and those questions demand answers. The police are searching, they are following leads. They are piecing together a puzzle that, when complete, will reveal the real story of what happened at 273 William Nye Drive, and those involved. Beyond the investigation, beyond the lies, there was a man, Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, young Scooter, a talent, a presence. His music, his influence touched lives. He was more than a headline, he was a person, a father, a son, a voice, and his legacy deserves respect. It deserves to be remembered. Friends and family gathered together to pay their respects to young Scooter. They released thousands of balloons to the air. Meanwhile, Demetria Spence have been granted a $7,500 bond. Do you think this is fair? What do you think happened? What are your theories? Share them in the comments below. Our hearts ache for Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in our deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in the memories of Kenneth Edward Rashad Bailey, young Scooter. Thank you for watching. If you crave to see more stories like this, where ordinary lives are shattered by extraordinary events, kindly like and subscribe this channel. Turn on the notification bell, so that you be the first to know when we drop our next video. More answers waiting to be discovered. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.